Hello, everybody. I'm AJ O'Neill, and I'm one of the software engineers that's been working on the Dash Trust vote for 2022. And I'm going to give you a brief overview of how you vote and how the tallying process is going to work. So in terms of how you vote, you are going to go to vote.dashtrust.org, but I am not going to go here because this is the live site, and I'm going to show you on the testnet site. So first, let me go over to Dash Hive on GitHub, Beehive Dash Hive. So Dash Hive like Beehive. There is a repository called Trust Vote Site. So I'm going to click on that. And then right here, there is dashvote.duckdns.org. This is the testnet vote system. So what I'm going to do is kind of walk you through the process of signing a message in case you don't know how that works. So before I go into the technical details, let's just do the easy stuff. So I'm on dashvote.duckdns.org. This is the testnet site, and I'm just going to pick some of these at random. I'm just going to pick the first three, and I'm going to click done. And this is a little not necessarily intuitive, but you have to scroll down. So scroll down, and then there's the part 2 that you need to do. So part 2 is you're going to copy this. I recommend actually just selecting it, triple click to select it all, and then copy it that way. And this is your message. This is your voting message that you're going to sign. So you're going to need your voting address, and you're going to need a signature with that message. So I'm going to go back to these set of instructions that are on the Dash Hive Trust Vote site. Before I actually talk about signing the key, just in case you forgot which is your voting address, there's the command. You can either use -CLI or you can use this in the debug console of Dash Core. But you can get the list of the master nodes, and you can look up your voting key public address by your IP address in that list. So just to give you an idea of what that looks like. So here you can see address, there's an IP address, and then you can see the different keys, and you may find that you have 2 or 3 of these keys are the same. So particularly owner address and voting address are probably the same. But that is your public key, and that's important if you're using the Core wallet or some tool where you need your public key in order to do the signature, which we will cover momentarily. So let me get this all out of the way. So let's see. Yep, that's good. I'm going to get that out of the way so we can go back. So once you've found your voting public key, you've got a few different options, 3 different options at least, for how to sign the message. So you can use -CLI, you can use the debug console. If you use the -CLI or the debug console in the Dash wallet, then you would be using your public address. So you could do sign message. This says sign message with priv key. That's if you actually have the private key. Otherwise, you just sign message with the public key. So you'd put, depending on which command you're using, either sign message or sign message with priv key. You're going to put either your public key or your private key either in the command line or in the debug console. And then you're going to put your vote. So let me give you what this might look like. Is I might be doing, oh goodness knows. I need to actually go back to this window here. All right, so I've got a bunch of config stuff for mine. Don't worry about that. All of this is just setting up for testnet, but you'd be running -CLI, and then you might run, say, sign message, and then I'm going to go ahead and put in my vote message, and I need to give it my public key that it's going to sign with. So let me see if I can actually get that to do that real quick. Where was my public key? This is the public key that I have. Don't mind me switching between windows or anything. But so I would do this: sign message, my public key, and then my vote. And I'd hit enter. Now in my case, it's failing because I don't have that public key. I don't have that private key registered. So I could change that to be sign message with priv key. And then let me go back over here real quick. And I'm just going to get my private key. So I got voting, adder, YY. There we go. So this is my private key. So I just had that saved. So I'm going to get rid of the public key, and I'm going to directly use the private key. And because I don't want this saved, I'm going to put some spaces in front of the command. Generally, if you put spaces in front of a command, it doesn't save in the history. So I'm going to hit enter, and then boom, this is my message signature. So what I need to do now, I need to come over here. Whoops. Let's go back to this. I'm going to paste in my message signature. And I'm going to come back over here again. And I'm going to paste my public key. So those are two ways that you can sign it. I'm going to show you one before I show you submitting this. I'm going to show you a third way that you can sign it, which is using the dash message tool. So if you go to webinstall.dev/-message, you can get the dash message tool, which allows you to sign and verify signatures and inspect signatures and some stuff like that. So that works on Windows, Mac, and Linux. And the way that you would use it is very similar to the other tool. It'd be dash message sign, and then you could give it a file that your private key is in, and then the message that you want to sign. Or you could also put the key on the command line. So I'll just show you that. So very similar concept here. Let me go back to this one. Whoops. So I could say dash message sign, and then I could give it, this is the file that has my voting key address in it. So I'm going to give it that file. Whoops. And then I'm going to paste in the thing that I'm intending to sign. So let me go back over here. I'm going to grab again the message that I'm intending to sign. I'm going to paste that in. And then again, I get the same, you can see here, we get the same signature either way. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that signature. And we should see that it looks the same. And when I paste it, we're not going to see any change. Yeah, no change. Same thing. Okay, anyway. So that's three different ways that you can sign. Dash CLI, debug console on dash core, wallet, or dash message. Then once you've got it signed, you hit submit vote. And if all goes well, you scroll down and you should see not failure, but you should see success. I think that the reason that we have that failure, I just need to change the test voting to be open longer because the test voting ended. I made it end about an hour ago. So I'm going to restart my test voting. Don't mind me here. Okay, now my test voting has been restarted. And now when we hit submit vote, success, it recorded the vote. So now while voting is in progress, you cannot get the list of candidates. So you can get the list of candidates. You cannot get the list of votes. So I'm going to say, okay, show me the list of votes. And it says unauthorized, not allowed to get the votes. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to say, okay, actually our vote is over. So let's see, it is now, let's see what time it is. April 5th at this time. So I'm going to say our vote actually ended April 5th at this time. I'm going to restart my test service. So now my test service believes that the vote has ended because it has. I'm going to refresh. And now we have an auditable list of all the votes. So votes become public once the end of the voting time arrives. Now, with that, this is the next part. We're going to talk about tallying the votes. Well, I guess we already are talking about tallying the votes. So the way that we tally the votes is back here at -hive. Let me go back. There is a tool called Vote Tally. And it's got some instructions here. You know, if you know about code, you can just clone this repository and that gives you the tool that does the tallying. There's a couple of different files that are needed. So there's a candidates file, a votes file, and a master list file. And so once the voting is ended, well, actually at any time you can get the candidate list. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in the candidates file there. So I'm just copy and pasting a command to download, and then I'm going to copy and paste the command to download the votes. So we have a list of candidates, we have a list of votes, and then I already have the master node list here from testnet. And then I just run a command. Whoops. Let me try that again. I just run a command that runs the tally and it prints out the results. So I only cast one vote. And so these are the results from that one vote. If you vote multiple times, only the last vote is counted. I've actually tested this multiple times, so this is a different vote than I've had before. And there's also, you can see here, I've tested with an invalid address, and you can see that invalid voting addresses that are associated with a master node are discarded. So that's how the tallying works. So at the end, somebody's going to run this command. It's going to print out a list, print it out with whoever's the winner on top. So that is how we do the tally system. Anybody could, take a look at this code, and if you understand the code, then you can feel confident that it's doing what it's supposed to do. All right. Thanks for tuning in.